who does this on a different level. She was in North Carolina, and she has since moved into a more populous area. But when people are saying, "Oh, well, there's no physical evidence. There's no way that this can be real. Nobody's ever caught anything." Well, that's not true, because you found prints, you have thermal imagery, you have video, because we're going to talk about one of your videos that blew me away in the next hour. But and there's scat and fur that gets caught, just like our sweaters do when we're walking through the forest. Right. So, what kind of scat? I mean, is it Bigfoot, big kind of scat, or is it just like, what do you find?
Well, I haven't found any, and here's why I don't hunt any. It's because I'm a huge skeptic when it comes to scat. Now, I've seen some pretty big piles of stuff in the woods, and I'm like, what in the holy hell did this? And I'll be honest with you, I went right over it. I've only collected samples out of one that I've found, and to me, I mean, I don't know. To me, it could be anything. It could be bear. It could be whatever. And let's say you get some scat and you send it to somewhere that does DNA sampling or whatever. Most of the time, if it was, they're not going to identify. They're just not. I've heard so many cases of well-known researchers that sent it off and never heard from it again. Now, is it why? I mean, I don't know. Just let's say they said, well, this is an unknown primate species. Number one, when the person gets it back, they're going to be like, "Whoa, I've got this," and it's going to bring them into the spotlight, and they're going to have to defend their things. And if they do that, it's going to mess up business. I believe it's going to mess up their business, because they'll be like, "Well, they're a bunch of fruitcakes. They misidentified that." So I've just never took a sample. I mean, I've took one, but I've just never did anything with it. I mean, because nobody's going to look at it. And if somebody did look at it and said it was unknown, then you said something, I believe they would deny it. So maybe it's a bad part of me.
I don't think that you're going to find any kind of public forensic laboratory that's going to be willing to come out, because there's a great big bunch of hoo-ha about the mummies, the teeny mummies.
Oh, yeah, Parecchus mummies, yeah.
Yes, and, the forensics guy said prior to releasing his report that they were, their joints were fused, they were load-bearing. It was obvious they weren't, natal beings. And so then when the report came out, he said, well, it's obvious that these joints are not fused, and blah, blah, blah. So, he was talking out both sides of his mouth on that. So, and that's why there's such a to-do about that particular cryptid. And we are, oh my goodness, we are up against a break. I have so many more questions. I'm glad we have another hour.
Okay, cool.
And we have one from the Spreaker chat, too, that I'm going to be bringing you from Pete Haviland. So we will be back right after this. You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. Thanks for being here.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio. Broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Hello there. Welcome back to Paranormal Experience. I am Kat Hobson, your host, and I am completely excited and enjoying the conversation with Jonathan Odom. He is the founder of Alabama Paranormal and Bigfoot. He is somebody that I think is pretty fierce. He's just amazing. And Jonathan, I am so glad you're here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well,
glad to be here.
Good deal. Well, as long as we're both having fun, then it's all going great.
That's right.
I know our listeners are enjoying you too. But as I said, we had a question over in the speaker chat, and Pete wants to know, have you brought your tracks to Jimmy Chilcutt to see what he makes of the dermal ridges?
I haven't. I just, to be honest with you, I never have. I want to respond to this. I don't want people to think I'm being mean or anything, but I don't need validation for what I've seen and what other people's seen. I know it's a creature, and I just don't. And I'm being trying to be very politically correct. I don't really need to bring my footage to anybody to validate it because I've seen it so many times myself, and I'm fine with that. I'm very good. Now, if I met him in a conference, sure, I would love to show it to him. But I just I don't really seek a lot of people out for validation because I've had a wide variety of experiences, and I'm fine with that. I'm totally okay with that. They're my experiences, and they're pretty amazing. So no, I haven't did that. So.
Well, and in all fairness, you are a trained investigator, and so that is something. It's not just something that you're doing on the fly. This is, you are an investigator. So
right, and I've had a lot of people, just like ghost hunting, they either believe or they don't believe until they have their own experience, and then they become a believer. And the only reason I put my stuff on YouTube is a great way to archive some of my good stuff, and I hope my kids see it. And to tell you the truth, I really don't care if anybody ever watches it, but they do. And I'm not trying to be mean or facetious. It's just that something is out there. And I have a ranger that used to tease me mercifully. He'd stop the truck, he'd flag me down. He seen Bigfoot lately? I hadn't seen him. And a couple of months ago, this guy flagged me down. I thought, oh, crap, here we go again. He's going to tease me. And he said, man, get out of your truck. I thought, well, why? He said, I got to talk to you. So I pull over. He pulls in behind me, talks to me. He said, man, I want to apologize. And he stuck his hand out and apologized to me because he was out doing a government study, listening for the red-bellied woodpecker, and he had a sighting of a creature. And I was so thrilled because a skeptic became a believer in a matter of seconds. And I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. It was so funny.
It is. I mean, I get, and I know that you don't do very much on the paranormal side, but you have done stuff. I mean, you don't do it now. But,
right.
You catch crap all the time. Mainly, well, know you're talking to demons, correct? And it's like, well,
yes.
No, really, I'm not. Nobody knows what we're talking to. There is no definitive proof that this is Aunt Sally or, Lucifer. You don't know.
Yeah, because my dad was a Pentecostal preacher, and I had a very unusual paranormal life as a kid and into a teenager. So, I agree with you 100%. You don't know, especially if you open your mind, really open your mind and study a lot of the ancient text, Hebrew text. There's a lot of weird stuff out there. So, yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah, it's just, and I love it when people closed-minded and they talk to me, because the first thing I do is I will come on out. You mean come out with you on an investigation? Yeah, come on. I'll take you some places. I know you'll see something or you'll hear one. And I don't back down. I love taking people out, because I know 90% of the time, if they don't have experience, they'll come away with an appreciation that, okay, there's something out there. You know,
Right.
so I love a skeptic. Bring me a whole herd of skeptics. You know, I love it. You know?
Well, you know I'm sitting on go, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I
Hey,
am
I haven't
so
forgot about
sitting
you either. I promise you, I haven't. I think about it every time I think I've got, and I haven't forgot. I promise you, I haven't.
Well,
When it gets
I'm
colder, it'll be the best time.
right, and I'm going to Ashmore Estates in 2 weeks for the Ash Bash, which is a fundraiser and going to be so much fun. And the Booth brothers and Rachel, well, I think Christopher and Rachel, I'm not sure Philip's going to be there to show their newest film teaser, which I saw at Scarefest for the world premiere of My Attachment is Astounding, right? And after that, I have my annual girls trip, and then I'm still until my grandchildren get born.
Yeah.
So I have two due at the end of the year.
Well, see,